Hey guys, happy, what day is today? Saturday. Um, so thank you for coming and joining this really impromptu hangout. I know next week Hannah's gonna do a hangout by herself, so we thought it'd be kind of fun. She's at a wedding tonight in Nashville, and so she couldn't do the hangout this week, and so I thought, well, this might be kind of cool. Like, we'll do one together. Obviously, we did one together last week, which if you have not seen, it's on the YouTube channel, so you can go and check it out. And it was obviously previously recorded. And then this week I'll do one, and then next week she'll do one by herself, and then we'll come back together at the end of the diet bet and do another one together. So I thought it'd be kind of fun just to just kind of get a little bit of time just individually. It's kind of fun. We don't do a lot of that kind of thing, and I would rather and us all get to chat and whatever than not have one and just skip a week or whatever. So okay, so I think we mentioned last week that every week we're going to try to do a little giveaway. So this is the thing. I've got a little fun little giveaway that's one of my most favorite ways to treat myself during the fall time, really kind of all year round, but especially in the fall. It's one of my most favorite things to buy for myself that's not super expensive, but feels very fun and indulgent. So I got 4 of these for 4 different people who are in our diet bet. So the deal is, if you are in the diet bet and you are also now watching this hangout, I want you to leave in the comments below here on this YouTube, Google Hangout on the YouTube page. Just say, hey, Olivia, I want to be in the giveaway, and I'm enrolled in this diet bet. So, and then we'll pick 4 people at the end of this Google Hangout, and you guys will just win a little prize, and I will send it to you with a little handwritten note from me. And then next week, when Hannah does her hangout next Sunday or Saturday or Friday, whenever she decides to do it, there'll be another giveaway. And I think the next one is a little bit bigger, so it'll just be probably for one winner. But I thought, you know what? I just kind of wanted to do maybe a few more so that more people would get a chance to get something fun. So without further ado, I will show you what we ended up getting, or what I decided to get for you guys. So like I was saying, every fall, I always wait for these particular things to come out. I mean, I guess every season, but specifically fall and around Christmas time. And it is from this place, Bath & Body Works. I love their candles. And it's weird. I had a lot of questions asking different things like, how do you like to treat yourself? What are other things besides food that you like to get? And candles are something that I really enjoy, and especially not so much in the spring and summer. I mean, I do burn candles year round, but especially in the fall time, I like my house to smell like the fall. And especially, some of you might think this is crazy, but I love all of the, sorry, this could be kind of loud. I love all of the bakery scents. So I thought, hey, we're doing a diet bet, and we're all trying to watch our weight this fall, and we're trying to get prepared for the holiday season. But that doesn't mean we can't burn some 0-calorie treats in our home. So this is the first one I got. I also got myself one of these because this is my favorite. I think of all the pumpkin scents this year, this is my favorite. So it is caramel pumpkin swirl. So somebody will win one of those. Oh my gosh, guys, whoever wins this, I mean, I literally want to lick it. Don't worry, I won't lick it, but I really do. Let's see. It says on the bottom, a marvelous mixture of 2 fall's most delicious scents, sweet, smooth, caramel, and fresh pumpkin. So that will go to one person. Someone will get that, and I'm just going to pick them at random. So don't worry. Sorry, this is loud. The next one I got was pumpkin sugared donut, which is delicious. Oh, these are so good. And I will say, they're a 3-wick candle. They're super nice. They burn really clean. Just make sure that you trim the wick down every time you burn them, and it'll last longer. But it will literally, I mean, smell your entire home. And I know some people are like, oh, well, I don't like to put those kind of things in my home because then I want to eat them. To me, I just it doesn't necessarily make me want to eat them. It just makes me enjoy those scents because I don't want to have pumpkin sugar donuts in my house, but I love the way they smell, and it's just like comforting, and you can like, you know, make yourself a cup of tea and light your candle and read a book or watch TV, and it's just nice. You know what I mean? It like makes you get more into the fall spirit. So let's see. The next one I got, is this right? Did I mess this up? I also had bags, so maybe I'm messing this up. Let me see. What's the other one? Yeah, this is the wrong one. Ben, go get the other one. It's in the living room. Anyways, I'll just keep talking, and then I'll get when he brings the other two candles. So yeah. So anyways, so tell me also below. I got two other pumpkin scents. I'll when I'm giving them away, I'll do the last two, so we can just move forward into the chat. But anyway, so I got 4 Bath and Body Works candles, all pumpkin scents, all fall scented ones, which is really just nice. And it's a neat way to kind of like treat yourself, because let's face it, these candles are like, I don't know, they're like $23 each. And so, I mean, that's a nice size treat, and it's something that's like not any kind of calories. You can like take a hot bath and burn them, or like I said, make a cup of tea. You know, it's just nice. I think it's like, you know, a really nice way to treat yourself without having to go buy an expensive pair of shoes or something, but it's just something that's seasonal and really nice. Oh yeah, here's the other one. Pumpkin caramel latte, which is awesome. It's like, oh, it's like coffee and pumpkin together, which I know sounds kind of weird, but it's delicious. So coffee and pumpkin is the other one. And the last one is pumpkin cupcake. Oh, so delicious. Oh my gosh. They just smell like you just cannot even imagine. So those are the 4. We're going to pick them at the end. So don't forget to leave the comments. Say, yeah, I'm in the diet bed. And yeah, I want some candles or whatever, something fun like that. And we'll just pick 4 at random and double check with Diet Bet before. And so, you know, honesty code here, because obviously we don't know. But yeah, so that was one of the questions, like, do I like to treat myself in other ways besides food? And I'm going to tell you, like, I still do treat myself with food, because I noticed in some comments, like, people were like, well, I don't ever want to treat myself with food because, you know, that's not good. And I understand that, like, you don't want to make your only rewards in life about food, but I personally don't think there's anything wrong with rewarding yourself with a really nice, like, you know, I don't know, a piece of cake or a donut or something. Now, if you're in a weight loss journey, that's going to happen less often. That may happen once a month or on a holiday. Maybe, you know, the next holiday is Halloween. Maybe you have, you know, a Reese's peanut butter pumpkin or something. You know what I mean? I do think that it's okay to treat yourself, you know, now and again, because you have to do that. If you're in maintenance, you can do it a little more. Like, for instance, tonight was not a treat day or a treat night. Usually my treat day's tomorrow on Sunday, or not treat day, but when I get myself like a little treat. And so I decided today, because I was by 16 Handles, which is a frozen yogurt place. We were at the mall. And I was like, I really want some frozen yogurt. I think I'm going to get some tonight and just not do it tomorrow. So that's what I did. So I got a small, and I got a little bit, I just got 3 little flavors. I didn't get any toppings on it. I just got, because if I'm going to do toppings, that's going to be on a treat day where I just pile it all on there if I want it. But just once a week, I have a little something. So I had like some, you know, 3 little flavors in a cup, and I ate 3/4 of it and threw the rest away, because I after I got the taste of it, I was like, you know, I don't really need too much more of this. And I don't eat a lot of dairy anyway, so I already started feeling a little like not great. But yeah, so I do think it is important to treat yourself with food, but it is really nice, especially when you're on a weight loss journey, and you may not say, you know what, you know, it's been a couple weeks and I'm really doing strong and I don't really want anything quite yet. Then don't eat it just for the sake of eating it. Like, I feel like that's such a great way to decide, you know what, instead I'm going to go buy myself a really awesome lipstick for all you ladies out there. What's a good thing guys could go and get themselves that you think, like maybe a video game if you're a gamer?
An Apple product.
And that's not like a little treat.
Yeah, can you get some new earbuds or something?
Well, Ben says a new Apple product. I think all the girlfriends and wives and everybody, all the other women just went, that is not the same as a candle from Bath & Body Works.
A cross-fitting things.
Like, yeah, like a piece of like equipment. Like Ben would probably buy some kind of fancy jump rope or something for CrossFit or something like that. Like Ben recently treated himself to actual weightlifting shoes because he's been lifting in CrossFit and just regular CrossFitting shoes. So like things like that along the way are awesome. Or maybe like, you know, if a new something from Lululemon, that's something that's going to incorporate it into your lifestyle, but that's not, you know, just completely busting the bank, which Lululemon does bust the bank, I know. But anyways, I'm just saying, like, these kind of things are great ways to treat yourself. And I love the idea of a candle or something at your house. And like every time you light that candle, you're going to be reminded that you really worked for it, that you earned it, that it has to do with your weight loss and your journey. And when you want something sweet, sometimes you just want the scent of it. I know that sounds really bizarre, but I have never found, and like I said, if these kind of scents tend to make you stumble a little, they have all kinds. They have ones called flannel and autumn and leaves and all these ones that are very like autumny scents that have nothing to do with food if you don't like that. So so yeah. So anyway, so that's that. Let's see. I wanted to grab my phone. Now I've got like tissue. I've got like the Bath and Body Works tissue everywhere. There were a bunch on Facebook I wanted to answer. Oh, before I forget, because I know people will always ask, I am wearing on my lips NARS Velvet Matte Lip. This way, NARS Velvet Matte Lip Pencil in the color Cruella. So it's like a satin. I mean, it's velvet matte, so it is matte, but it's not like MAC like Ruby Woo or something that's like super uncomfortable on the lips. It's very similar to Ruby Woo in color, but it's actually very comfortable to wear on the lips and lasts a really long time. And yeah, I really highly recommend these a lot. So yeah, so I just thought I'd mention that because people always ask like what lipstick I'm wearing like after the fact. Okay, so let's get to some questions. First of all, thank you guys for tuning in. This is so fun. Let's see, where am I going here? Let me go to my Facebook page here. If you're not following me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook. I don't post a ton there. I'm the most active on Instagram, actually. And all my Facebook and Instagram information is always here or at myfitspiration.com. People are always wondering, like, I'm kind of hard to find on Instagram, and I need to change it. But I've been the Obird, like TheObird, because for those of you who don't know, Obird, which is weird, is my nickname, has been my nickname since college. So I'm the Obird because Obird wasn't available. But I've been that like forever, and so I kind of don't want to change it. But people are all the time like, "Wait, what is it? What is it, Theobird?" But people don't. So yeah. Anyways, that's a little ramble. Okay, let's see questions. Let's see. Yeah, I was such a fail when I posted on Facebook. Autocorrect changed it. I said, "What topics do you want to chat about?" And it changed it to "What topics do you want to cat about?" So fail. So Debbie said meow, so I say meow right back. Let's see. This is a really good one. Christine Lewin, I think is how you say your name. She said, "I'd like suggestions for maintenance. After losing over 100 pounds and maintaining for nearly 2 years, I've backslid and I have 20 pounds to lose. My exercise is great. My eating has fallen off." So this is a really good question. And it's really interesting because we don't get to talk too much about maintenance. I feel like because of, the nature of kind of what our channel is. And obviously we're in the middle of like diet bet right now, but it's a good thing to start to talk about and think about because a lot of you are going to want to maintain that 4% that you lose. And I find personally that maintenance is 100 times harder than losing it. And I don't mean to say that to be discouraging. It's hard in a different way. I should kind of clarify a little bit because you just kind of get comfortable at times, and it's a constant game of letting yourself go a little bit and pulling the reins back and letting it go and pulling it back. And yes, it is about balance, but nobody's going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. Right now, and I even said it in the video, I had gained a little bit of weight, not a lot, but just a little bit in the past, like right before I started diet bed. And so I want to lose that. And that's what I'm working on in diet bed, and it's coming back off. But it's always for me that I'm always either up to 10 pounds or down to 10. I always give myself this little 10-pound swing, and it's really tough. And just to kind of be honest with you, and I've never really had the opportunity or, you know, to really kind of talk about this is, you know, I weighed 132 pounds in, at the finale of Biggest Loser. And I will never in my life ever see 130 anything again in my life. I weighed literally the day that I weighed in at Biggest Loser, which was on a Saturday. Was it Saturday that we weighed in? I believe it was a Saturday before the Tuesday. Saturday. I weighed 132, 131.6. They rounded it up to 132. I weighed 132. The morning of the finale. Now, literally, I can honestly say I did not go buck wild with my eating. You know, before the finale. Now, after the finale, I went buck wild like for a couple days. I'm not going to lie. But I really tried. I had one big meal right out that day. And then I really tried to keep it as clean as I could because I knew I still had to fit in my dress. The morning of finale, after just rehydrating, because, you know, everybody sweats out. You're trying to get as lean as you possibly can. Those last like handful of pounds, it's all vanity weight. I knew that I made that choice. I weighed 143 pounds. And now I live typically it depends. Like on the low end, I can get down into the upper 140s, like 145, 150. On the higher end, I've gotten all the way up back to 160 in the past, not anymore, but I've gotten back down into that upper 140s, low 150s is where I stay. I'm 5'10", flat-footed. So for me, that is what balance looks like for me. It's in that mid 140s to mid 150s. That's that swing. I look the best. Obviously, I feel like I start to get really thin and just a little gaunt looking at that lower 145. I look the best right around 150. And that's what I'm always shooting for. I'm always trying to just hang out like around, you know, from 149-ish to 152, like always hanging around in there. When I do events, or like when I went to film Biggest Loser back in February, I got back down to like 145. And it's just what you do. It's like anything for any kind of, I mean, if you had a photo shoot, you would work your butt off to get as low as you could. But in life, in every day, that's typically where I live. And for a woman that's 5'10", you know, in the, you know, that 10-pound area is where I feel the most comfortable. And it's something that I can maintain without beating myself up. Now, I still, for the most part, count calories. I keep my portions. I pretty much know throughout the day what I'm eating. I try to stick between around 1,500 calories. I go up to 1,800 at times, depending on how many times I ride. Because obviously, you guys know I work at SoulCycle for a living. So I'm constantly on a bike. So for me, if I'm working out 2 and 3 hours a day, I mean, sometimes I'll even go up to 2,000 calories if I need it that day. It just depends on how I feel. And I find for me that is the most important. It's how do I feel? What does my body feel like? Because, you know, people will say, oh, 1,500 calories and you're on a bike all the time. That's ridiculous. That's too low and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, for somebody who's never had a weight problem and for somebody whose metabolism works properly and for someone who hasn't done major damage to, like, you know, their adrenals and things like that over, not a Biggest Loser, before I got to Biggest Loser. That is true. I agree. Somebody, you know, I work with a lot of instructors that can eat up to 3,000 calories, but they have a metabolism that has never been damaged. I mean, not only did I gain a lot of weight, but I yo-yo dieted for years. I mean, I, no joke, lost the same 60 pounds at least 5 or 6 times. I am not kidding. And so for me, maintenance is about finding that balance, knowing where you want to be number-wise, because I know success is not determined by a number, but numbers do hold you accountable, whether it be your calorie intake, whether it be the amount of calories you want to burn, whether it be the numbers on the scale, you know, whatever. Like, I'm not super concerned ever with what my pants size says, as long as I look good in what I'm wearing. That's all I care about. So that's kind of like what I do for maintenance. And as far as eating goes, for me, that's the battle. Exercise, I don't have any problem with it. Even when I didn't work at SoulCycle, I had no problem with the exercise. I love doing it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the way I feel. And even though a lot of times I don't want to do it, I always know I'm going to feel better at the end if I just do it. So that's kind of the thing that I think is key, is the eating. To kind of segue into another question. So I don't know if I really answered that. I guess my thing is you just have to remember it's just like dieting. Maintenance is just like dieting. As a matter of fact, you have to be more consistent in maintenance, I feel like, than you do in losing the weight. Wouldn't you agree with me, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Ben's sitting here, by the way. You want to say hi? Yeah, you have to be more consistent in maintenance than you do in dieting. Because think about dieting, you kind of hit a plateau and then you like really ramp it up, and then you kind of like maybe back off a little bit and you ramp it up again. And maintenance is more about balance and being really consistent and really tailoring your lifestyle to maintain what you've done. And that is just really, really tough. And it's reminding yourself every single day. It's finding a mantra. It's like, you know, really knowing exactly what you want and why you do this and why you continue to do it, and having support around you and all the things that you learn in dieting about making a support system and this, that, and the other. It's the same. You maintain that in maintenance. It's the same thing. Because if you go back to those old habits, if you do all this work and then say, you know what, I'm just going to go back to eating whatever, that's the downfall, and that's the trap for everybody, for me included. And I go through periods where my eating is not on point. Sure, absolutely. But I know where my danger zone is, if that makes sense. And as soon as I start approaching that, I just like tighten the belt back up and say, all right, back to basics. And you get right back again. And because there's no way you're going to be perfect for the rest of your life. You're just not going to. And there are going to be times where you look fantastic and you're at like your fighting weight. And then there are going to be times when you're a little bit up from that, and it's okay. And I think I'm on my 4th year now, almost let's see, October 1st. So last week, it was 4 years ago that I stepped on the ranch. So I feel like I'm just now starting to really understand and kind of cut myself a little bit of slack, because life is life and it gets busy and it gets hectic. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie to you people, sometimes you just wake up, there's some days and you're like, this is some bull, you know what? And I don't want to do it today. And you don't. And that's okay, because then you go to bed and say, all right, but I can't do that 2 days in a row. And then the next day you get up and you feel maybe more energized or more ready. Or even if you don't, you say, you know what, you had yesterday, get out of bed and get going. And you cut yourself some slack, but at the same time, you don't let that slack be so big that you get away from what you've earned, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, all right. So there was a great question. I'm going to move forward from somebody let me find. That kind of does, Kathleen Holmes asked a question about how do you get back on track when you fall off the wagon? And it's kind of just what I said. You give yourself whatever time, you've already taken. You just have to decide, and you just wake up that next day and say, no more, period. No more negotiate, no more, draw your line in the sand and get back on. And the thing is like, the thing that's so great is you don't have to wait to the next day. You don't have to wait. I mean, just if it's at lunchtime, you say I'm done. That's it, dinner, and you immediately get on. Don't wait to the next day or the Monday or the next week. Just get right back on right then and let it be for however many times. Set a goal. I usually do a week at a time. If I find that I've gotten off for like a little bit or my eating is not that great, I'd be like, all right, no more. I'm getting back to basics, whatever. And I give myself a line in the sand. I step over it and I say, all right, for the next week, I'm going to just clean it all up, back to basics, nice and simple. And I'm telling you, once you do it a week, you're right back on it, especially if you've been on a journey. If you're at the beginning of it, they say 21 days forms a habit. But if you've already been dieting and you're already kind of in the swing of it, you've just kind of let some things go, you need a week to get right back on. So you just draw your line in the sand and you do it. There's no magical way. There's no way to make it easier. It's always going to be hard. But you know what? I always think to myself, man, would it be worth it if it was easy? Like really and truly, like I said that today in class. I was like, when I was in my soul cycle class today, I was like, who signed up for this spin class because they wanted it to be easy? Really and truly, of course you don't. You want it to be tough and challenging, and you want to walk out and be like, yes, I just did that. It's the same thing with weight loss. I look at my journey, and when I look and I see what I've done, I just go, yes, it was hard and it sucked and it still sucks, but heck yes, I do this. I am doing it. And there's something so empowering about that. So try to think that way. Think like, I know this is terrible and it sucks and whatever, but you know what? I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do. And I'm going to feel great because I'm choosing this. And I don't know. That's just kind of like, that's the way I try to look at it. I try to keep it real black and white in those areas, because the gray is where you have to be careful. Those gray areas, you'll start to negotiate yourself right out of your weight loss. Okay. So there was a great question about PCOS. And I know we kind of talked a little bit about this. Yes, here it is. From Rochelle Brayton, I think is your name. First of all, hi, Rochelle. And all my PCOS ladies out there. Those of you who don't know what PCOS is, and you might be new to this part of my story, it's called polycystic ovarian syndrome. Lots of women have it. It's a syndrome and not a disease. For the main reason is there are a myriad of symptoms, and you can have many different combinations of those symptoms and still be diagnosed with PCOS. Most women that have PCOS are overweight. They're not sure if it's a breakdown in the metabolic system or a breakdown in the endocrine system, which they are a part of each other. But it's kind of like they don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Is there a breakdown in the female like hormonal system, or does it have to do with the metabolic system that metabolizes food and sugar and all of that kind of stuff? So basically, I was diagnosed when I was 25 with PCOS. I'll be 39 this month. And so I've had it for a really long time. And I'll never forget the day I was diagnosed with it. My doctor was just like, well, it's going to be real hard for you to lose weight. And really, that's really what you need to do. And I don't think you're ever probably going to be able to have kids. I had an ultrasound, and she was like, your ovaries are covered in cysts and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. So I obviously, going on Biggest Loser, I was very fortunate because Jillian is very familiar with PCOS and is incredible with like hormonal imbalances and food and things like that. And she really helped Hannah and I just kind of learn about our own bodies, as well as learn how to eat to be the most successful in weight loss. And really, to be honest with you, obviously not being a doctor, and everyone is different, but the thing was that she really, really stressed for me and Hannah is you really, really have to get the minimal carbohydrates that you're going to intake, because you have to have them. You can't just cut out all carbohydrates. That's not good, right? But the ones that you choose, you have to choose smart with the kinds of carbohydrates you're going to have. For instance, if you're going to eat fruit, we've talked about this a million times: berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries. All of the berries are low glycemic index fruit. If you are going to eat a fruit like an apple that is a little higher in sugar, you want to pair it with a little bit of protein, whether it be a piece of cheese, or like me, I'm lactose intolerant, so I'll eat some almond butter with it, like real ground up almond butter, or almonds, or some turkey or something like that, so that my body has to work extra hard to break down the protein and the carbohydrate. But for me, with a lot of trial and error, things like whole grains like breads and steel cut oatmeal and things like that, my body does not do well with copious amounts of those things. Now, if I have a bowl of steel cut oatmeal every couple weeks, it's fine, but I can't have it every day. So, which is why for me, I choose the protein, the egg whites, and the fruit for breakfast. Or, I basically eat egg whites every day, pretty much. Let's just be honest. I eat egg whites every day. But you can, turn them into whatever. We've gone through that like a million different times. But what I'm saying is it had to do with mainly lots of protein, lean veggies, fruit that you're going to eat, get carbohydrates from a half a sweet potato. Or I know a lot of times Jillian will have almond butter on a half of an Ezekiel bread muffin. For those of you who do well with those kind of things, and trial and error, experiment with those things, experiment with steel cut oatmeal, or, things like that. Also, for those of you who aren't lactose intolerant, you could do Greek yogurt and berries, or, a lot of people talk about, I think somebody also asked me about dairy, like how that is dairy good? Is dairy bad? Does it help you lose weight? Does it help you not? This is the thing. And I say it all the time about weight loss. Weight loss is simple biology, very simple. And you can argue with me all you want. That's how Jillian Michaels and Bob Harper taught me. And it continues to be proven to me over and over and over again that is the truth. That it is about calories in and calories out. Now, it is about the quality of your calories for sure. You can't eat 1,500 calories of macaroni and cheese and expect to have like ripped abs or whatever. Like, you know, it has to do with also the quality of what you're eating. But it is calories in and calories out. So, you know, that being said, it was a combination of really counting those calories and making sure I had everything proportioned. For me, dairy just doesn't work. I'm lactose intolerant. I get like really dark circles. The biggest thing is I have lots of inflammation when I eat a lot of dairy and gluten. That's just what happens to me. So I try to limit it. I don't completely exit out because every once in a while, like today, I had some frozen yogurt. Tomorrow, will my hands be swollen? Yep, they sure will. But it's all right. By one spin class, after one spin class, I'll be fine. So you have to find what combinations also work for you. Because when I was really heavy at the ranch, I ate a lot of Greek yogurt and stuff like that. And as I got thinner, it did start to bother me. So then I started to just shift things around. So it's also trial and error and finding what works for your body. There's no right food or wrong food for anybody. There is no right food or wrong food for everybody. That's what I meant to say. Everything is different and works differently for different people. So yeah. So, you know, just trial and error, figure it out. You PCOS ladies, you got to eat like a diabetic. There's tons of information about how to eat with PCOS. And I don't care what anybody says, PCOS is not a death sentence. It doesn't mean you're going to be fat. It is going to mean that it's harder, but it doesn't mean that, you can't do it. I had a terrible case of PCOS and I freaking won The Biggest Loser. I don't know. It can be done. And so I just want to encourage you, if you are out there and you are watching this and you have PCOS and you're like, I can't do this. Yes, you can. You are just going to have to not let anything slide. You are going to be meticulous about what you eat and you are going to have to exercise. And it might take you a little longer than your friends, but you can do it. Most of my PCOS symptoms have completely reversed themselves, which is awesome. Most of you know I've been trying to have a baby. I got pregnant last fall and did have a miscarriage. There's a video about that on our channel if you want to watch. I go into great detail about that. And we are still trying. I did, like I said, I think I said this last week, we took some time. I just needed some time to kind of grieve and kind of just feel ready again. And so just within the past couple of months, we're ready again and starting to try. And yes.
From the YouTube chat page.
Yes.
A lot of people hanging out. A couple things. First of all, Briggy Girl 3 says.
First of all, my husband just interrupted me in the middle of my song.
Oh wait, I thought you were done.
No, I wasn't done, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. Oh, okay. I'll just say this one really quick, and then I'm going to answer some of you YouTube awesomeness people. For those of you who are, this is a really random thing, but for those of you who are trying to get pregnant or want to get pregnant, there is an incredible app that I've been using. Yes, there's an app for that. But it is really cool, especially those of you who have PCOS and maybe or any other kind of like infertility challenges. It just helps you really kind of keep track of your body and kind of learn a little bit more about how you work, but it's called Glow, Glow, like Glow. And I've been using it for only about 2 months because, we've only been trying for a couple months, but it's incredible. And so go check it out. I got it on the App Store. It's really great. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but I think, how much was it? $5 or something?
Oh, it was free.
Oh, it was free. I thought we paid money for it, so it's free. But yeah, it's really great. So shout out to that app, Glow, if you're interested in having some help having a baby, because who knew it could be this complicated? I didn't know. I just thought, that I'm learning. You know what I mean? Okay, so what were you going to tell me?
Oh, I was going to say.
So we got some questions from the YouTube channel.
First of all, comment. Just a shout out to Briggy Girl 3 who feels bad because she's watching this while eating Cheez-Its and chocolate.
Briggy Girl, what's her thing?
Briggy Girl 3.
Briggy Girl 3, put down the Cheez-Its and the chocolate, girl. You don't need to be eating that right now. Come on now.
And then California Lighthouse says, nice greets from Germany. You're a big inspiration.
Lighthouse what?
California Lighthouse.
California Lighthouse. Big shout out to Germany. I would love to go to Germany, by the way.
Give us some of your German.
Oh my gosh.
Give us some German.
No sprechen die Deutsch. No. I did actually take quite a bit of German in college. I can read fairly well. I can read enough German that I understand, but I cannot hold a conversation. I used to be able to like broken German, like have a conversation, but I love the German language. I would love to go to Germany at some time. So California Lighthouse, maybe we'll at some point do a My Inspiration meetup in Germany. How cool would that be? So all right, give me another one.
So here's a question from Cindy McLaughlin.
Yeah.
She says, do you keep a food journal?
Cindy McLaughlin asked if I keep a food journal. Hannah religiously keeps a food journal. I'm not as diligent with it as she is. But when I am going through, you know, like diet bed and stuff like that, yes, like I write it down, but I don't use, this is the thing, guys, and I feel bad saying this because I know that we have said this a lot, but a lot of the reason why we say this is because Hannah, I mean, let me tell you something. If you got questions about like MyFitnessPal or any of those things, Ben and Hannah are like rock stars at that. I'm really old fashioned and boring, and I just have a little notebook in my backpack and I just write it down. I'm just like, I like it old school like that. I like to write it down and just, I know my calories. I know the things that I eat. I know how many calories they have in them. If I don't know, I guesstimate and then go home and look it up if I'm not somewhere immediately where I can look it up. I will say MyFitnessPal and those kind of apps are really helpful in that sense. Like every once in a while, I will use it to look up the calories, like if I'm not sure. But if I'm not in a weight loss mode, like where I'm trying to like get down or whatever, I just keep, I do more guesstimate. And I do think for maintenance, that is important because, you know, keeping a food journal every single day of the rest of your life is tough. You know, it is tough. I think I will always go through periods of time where I'll keep a food journal and then just kind of do, and I've gotten long periods of time without doing a food journal and have maintained fine. But I do think if you are losing weight, if you are on any kind of weight loss journey, that is a non-negotiable, and you must keep a food journal. You have to know what you're eating. How else are you going to know? And I've had so many people be like, I mean, I eat so healthy, Olivia. I mean, I do. Believe me, let me tell you something. I have said all of these things. Like, that's the thing. I know I have been in your shoes more times than I'd like to admit. So I understand, like, you know, you think you're doing really, really good. But when you sit down and really add up calories, it's crazy how fast they add up. Well, wouldn't you say? Like,
oh, yeah.
like things that you don't even realize. Like, you know, I like my favorite is how many of you guys like go to like smoothie places and juice places and things like that? And I'll watch people, they'll get like 4 juices and they'll walk out. And I literally want to just like grab them and say, and they're not getting like the green ones. They're getting the ones that are like, you know, the Power C, like glow face, this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And, or these smoothies that have like, you know, all this protein and milk and all kinds of stuff in it. And literally, you're probably consuming 400 plus calories in like a medium smoothie if you don't know exactly what's going in it. And that's the thing why I always like to make mine at home, or I have a couple places in the city that I love that I get things. Like there's a place called Juice Generation here in New York, and I get this thing called the Joyful Almond with no agave. And all it has is frozen coconut milk, unsweetened coconut milk, organic, cacao nibs, unsweetened, banana, ice. What else is in it?
Frozen banana,
cacao nibs, frozen coconut milk,
almond butter.
Yeah. And I don't get the agave, and I just tell them no agave. And it is 253 calories, I think. And that's with the agave. I just add it because I'd rather overestimate than under. But that's a lot. I mean, it's like I would say, what we say, a 12-ounce cup, maybe. I mean, it's not huge. And, you know, that's a lot of calories for, a lot of times I'll use that, that plus like a little salad or a soup or something like that as like a meal replacement when I'm on the go. But it's important to know. And so make sure you write it down. I think that's very, very important. You got another question for me, sir, producer? Yeah. There were so many good ones on the Facebook today.
Oh, yeah, you had a ton. You should go back to that one for a second.
Well, find one for me, and then let me go back to the Facebook where I was. Let's see.
Plus, you had Instagram.
Ooh, this is a great one. Ooh, I love this. From Rebecca Moldovan, I think is how you say your last name. Maybe, I'm sure I butchered it. And again, I apologize if I butcher your names. She said, what are common exercise mistakes that people make? like not stretching or poor mental attitude, no support, etc. And a random one, what can I do to treat or prevent sore muscles, if anything at all? I'm a new mom, again, with number 2, and I'm exercising, and my exercising isn't always consistent, but that's life, which totally. But when I do squats or abs after a long recess, I'm so sore for days. Sometimes I can't work out for a few days because of it. It stinks. Any advice? That does stink. That's super hard. I think there are 2 things that I find that are the most common mistakes in exercise. The biggest one is when people decide, and listen, again, I know all that. I'm not making any judgment because I know what this is like because I did it myself. When you decide, okay, I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to get my exercise bandwagon. I'm just going to do this. You go full ham. Like who just goes and says, I'm going to start an exercise regimen, and you just go and walk slowly on a treadmill the next day, which is probably what you should do. Nobody does that. You go to some like cardio turbo kickboxing on steroids, and you work out for like 2 hours, and then for the next like 3 days you can't move because you're like debilitated. So I think one of the biggest mistakes is if you aren't in a current exercise routine. The most important thing about starting an exercise routine is not how hard or how fast or how intense you can go. It's starting a rhythm and being consistent. So I would rather you start, maybe the first week you just do some light walking or light jogging, depending on how fit you are, or maybe a mixture of jogging and some strength training class, like a body pump, or something that you can work yourself into. I think you should start out, if you're starting out, having not exercised at all, why don't you try 3 days in your first week? I just want 3 days a week. For the first week, I want to do an hour 3 times. That's it. Whether it be a walking, or maybe the next time you do a class or whatever. And of course, you're going to incorporating really upping your water, making sure you stretch before and after exercising. And then my advice for sore muscles, the biggest thing is stretching will always help that. You can't, it's so hard, but let me tell you, every single day, like Bob used to always tell me, if you don't wake up every morning screaming my name because you are so sore, you are not doing something right. And I literally woke up every single day at The Biggest Loser so sore I could barely move. Now, granted, that's not real life. But what the important thing is that I got up the next day and kept moving. And that's one of my biggest advice. If you wake up the next day after doing maybe a lot of squats, or in some kind of class where you're using stability muscles, like your abs really sore, the best thing to do is you have to keep moving. You can't say, oh, well, I'm taking a day off the next day. You don't want to go back in and do more squats and abs, but what you do want to do is you want to get out and walk maybe, or do some swimming or yoga or something that's going to really like extend and pull those muscles as they repair themselves. Again, you're going to want to up your water. You're going to want to foam roll, stretch before and after. And the other thing that's really helpful, if you are you've got that really deep soreness, that almost where you feel like your bones hurt, like I know what that feels like. Go to CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, any drugstore, and grab some Epsom salt. It's cheap. Run yourself a warm bath. Not like super, super, super hot, but warm, like a little over warm. And then follow directions on the bag. It's usually, about a 1/4 cup. Put the Epsom salts in the bath, let them dissolve, and then just soak for about 20 to 25 minutes. The longer, the better. I wouldn't stay in there longer than about 40 minutes, but allow yourself anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes to really soak. And what it does, it just really alleviates that sore, achy feeling that you get when you really work out hard. And we all go through, as we get better and as we up the intensity, you're going to go through periods of time where you're really, really sore. I had some really, really hard rides like the last couple days, and my glutes and my hip flexors and my hamstrings are very sore. So I took a long, long hot bath earlier today, and just stretched while I was in the bath. I was just stretching, and I actually had a bath bomb that was for sore muscles that I used, but it was more of a luxury product that someone had gifted me. So I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to use it. But Epsom salt is cheap, and it is a great thing for sore muscles. So that's just a little tip for you, folks. I'm going to go to Twitter really quick. Let's see. Let's do Twitter. Let's see what's
somebody's here. Somebody's watching from Ireland.
Hi.
Magella, Majella.
Magella from Ireland. Hey. Speaking of Magella, I don't know if you've heard of. I follow these vloggers, daily vloggers.
Yeah.
They just moved to London, but their last names are the Sacconi Jolies. They're from Cork. I don't know. Maybe you've heard of them. I love them. I'm obsessed. I watch like every day. And even if you guys are not from Ireland, they're on YouTube. Their names are the Sacconi Jolies. They're daily vloggers, and they put up a video every day at 1 p.m. Their kids are adorable. I'm obsessed. You have to go check it out. All right, let's see. Oh, Carolyn, she's music fan for life 30. Just said she's doing a BL boot camp. It's her first BL boot camp that she's doing, and she's lost 2.9 pounds. So congratulations, Carolyn. That's awesome. And let's see, Linda Von Rader. Oh, how cool. She just said that she met her goal weight, and her treat to herself is going to be to come to my Soul Cycle class one day, which I think that's a great treat. So I would love to see you. Let's see. There was a question. Marty Bruning says, how do you balance not being a perfectionist about food? That's tough. And exercise, but still stay motivated. So we've kind of talked about this a little bit. But again, it's really hard. You have to kind of let go of being a perfectionist in anything. And let me tell you, for me to say that, that's huge, because my husband will tell you I am so like particular about things, and I really beat myself up if I can't control every aspect of everything. And so you got to let that go, because life is life, and there's just going to be some days where you're not going to be able to eat exactly what you want to eat. You're not going to be on a Biggest Loser ranch where you can eat the same things and you have all this stuff at your disposal. And I do know that. And believe me, I've been off the ranch now way longer than I was ever on it. So I feel like now I've kind of earned my stripes a little bit, and you just got to let that go and do your best. And sometimes, if I'm in a situation where, it's not optimal and there's not something that I can eat that's available, you know what? I'm a big girl. Sometimes I just don't eat till I get home. And I'm not talking about all day. I'm talking about, but if I'm in a meal and there's nothing that I can have, I either just hang out and talk to people. If I'm in a corporate situation where it would be rude not to eat, I just pick a little. There's always something on your plate you can have. You always eat the salad, obviously. And then, there's always a protein or something. So I'll pick at that, whatever. And then when I get home, I'll, try to figure out how many calories I have left and eat a meal. So sometimes you can't, life will never be perfect. You kind of got to let that go. And the same thing with exercise. There are some days that you're going to want to exercise. You're going to want to plan it all out. And then life comes and poops on your plate and you can't do it. That's fine. You just try to make it up in other ways. You chalk it up to, you know what? But there's a difference when life wedges itself in and when you just conveniently let life wedge itself in, if that makes sense. So you just have to find out what your non-negotiables are, especially with exercise. I know there are people that work 1 million hours a day. There is somewhere in your day, twice a day, that you have 2 15-minute little chunks. And I know it for those of you who work night shifts and all these long-hour nurses, doctors, teachers, you don't want to do it because you're tired. I so understand. But you're going to have to figure out some way to make it work for you, because if you want it bad enough, you're going to find a way. And I truly believe that. So yeah, let's see. What's another one?
Well, let's go to Instagram.
Let's do let's do some Instagram.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna adjust here, guys. Sorry, I hope you don't get seasick.
This is Carita33 on Instagram.
All right, I'm gonna lean back a little bit.
At the O-Bird,
yeah.
I have been doing well on the diet bet. I want to keep going. With both my food and stay motivated and stay on track.
I love that. So we kind of I don't know if you heard any of that. What was her name again? Tell me.
Her username is Carita33. Let's see if it says. Oh,
Kara.
Oh,
Kara.
She's private though.
Oh, Kara33. First of all, hi. She was basically saying that she's done really, really well in the first 2 weeks of diet bet, but now she's feeling like she's kind of like getting in that rut, like we all do after it's not so new anymore, and she was eating like the same things. My recommendation for everybody who, not just in doing diet bet, but if you ever feel like you're in a rut with what you're eating, I immediately always tell people to go seasonal. And I, you're going to be like, what? Go seasonal? Yes. Like, think about it. It's fall right now. So what are some seasonal things that we can eat that's different out of your everyday diet? Maybe you make a vegetable soup or a big pot of turkey chili, or some, maybe you make, a lean pork tenderloin you can get like at Trader Joe's. You can get them already marinated, and you just like pop them in the oven with some root vegetables, like maybe some sweet potatoes and parsnips, and pair it up with some grilled asparagus, or some like fall-ish kind of things that, and seasons and tastes that sound like really, really good. Or make a homemade vegetable curry that's kind of with those like cardamom and cinnamon and things like that remind you of kind of like seasonal flavors, but that are still within your diet and are still going to really kind of like keep you on track eating wise. And I always say another thing is to really play up with your herbs and spices. So, like for instance, I recently bought, I obviously eat salads all the time. I always have salad mix or whatever in my house. So I bought a Bolthouse Farms dressing recently that I really, really liked. I've been doing more Whole30 stuff lately with, I do a lot of lemon juice, garlic, salt, and pepper, and olive oil, which is my all-time favorite salad dressing anyways. But I just wanted something a little different. So I thought, on occasion it's, like I said, again, you can't be a perfectionist in anything. So I'm eating Whole30 the majority of time, but occasionally I'm adding a few things here and there. And I really like that they have a miso dressing that's like a sesame Asian kind of dressing. And I've been putting that with like butter lettuce with scallions and a few either sesame seeds or if I don't have sesame seeds, I'll use sunflower seeds. I couldn't think of it. With a little bit of like the snap peas and carrots. So it kind of gives it like an Asian feel with the sesame dressing. And then I take one egg, 117 calories. I take one egg and I put it in I have a little egg skillet that's like nonstick, and I make one over easy egg and I put that on top of the salad, and that's my protein. And I know that sounds really, really weird, but I promise you it's delicious. And when you cut open the egg yolk and it goes all over that salad, and some of you are gagging right now, but it's delicious. It's the same concept. Have you ever had like the fried egg on a hamburger, and you got the lettuce and tomato and everything, and it gets all over everything? It's the same concept, just without the burger. And you could do a burger patty with the egg. That's a good idea. I should try that on a salad. That would be delicious. But it's the same kind of concept. So just mixing it up and adding like different flavors from different like ethnic groups. Ethnic groups? Is that what I'm trying to say? Yeah, like different ethnic flavors maybe. Is always a way to really kind of change it up. As far as exercise, my biggest recommendation, I think I said this last time, is you got to try something different. Still do what you love. Like for me, I love SoulCycle, but I love to add in other things. Like maybe I go out for like a really hard power, like a 5 or 6 mile power walk, or I'll go out and, take a yoga class, or an strength and length and tone class, or go to the fitting room and do some TRX stuff, or, take a class somewhere. Those kind of things really mix it up and really challenge your body in a new way. So I always want you to keep the bulk of your exercise what it is that you love, because that's going to keep you consistent, and consistency we know is key. But when you start to feel like you're a little bit in a rut, maybe back off of what you love and add just a few new things in here and there, and it will make the world of a difference. So that's my little recommendation. We got any other ones for Instagram?
Well, yeah, let's see. Let's see here.
We're looking.
How do you find a good spin instructor?
Oh,
this is Sweet Mandy 81.
Sweet Mandy 81 had a great question, which I do feel like I might be an expert in. No, not an expert, but I'm just good at it at this point. How do you find a good spin instructor? And obviously I'm very partial to SoulCycle because I love it. I mean, I rep it all the time. But I love spinning, and I was just a member of the class. I was just a spinner for 2 years before I became an instructor. And now obviously that's what I do most of the time. I'm now like an instructor. But I think it depends on what you're looking for. I think for me, what I like somebody who has great music, because to me, music is everything. I love good music. So an instructor that's not just playing some kind of like with like nothing attached to it, because that is boring. So good music, somebody who has really, I like really big energy. Like, obviously my very first instructor ever was Bob Harper, who has the most incredible energy ever. So I like people who have big personalities. If you're in Los Angeles, the Crunch in West Hollywood, there's a guy there. His name is Andrew Schuth, who was my personal trainer. He trained me between the Final Four and finale when I couldn't train with Bob or Jillian. He trained me, and he's an incredible spin instructor at Crunch in West Hollywood. So if you're ever there, go take his class. He's incredible. He's got a really big personality. I love him. And I think somebody who's just going to push you, that's not going to make you feel bad about yourself, but is really going to encourage you and push you, and it's going to make you want to come back. And that's my biggest thing that I hope with the people who ride with me. And I will say my classes always sell out. I do pretty well at Soul Cycle, and I love it that I have loyal riders that ride with me every single week. And I love that. And I feel like a lot of the reason why they come back is because I try to empower people. Because, I mean, if I'm just beating people down and being like, you got to go faster and this isn't good enough, not the other, well, who wants to hear that? Nobody wants to hear that. I believe that, as long as you're just a little bit better than when you walked in, then you have you've nailed it. That's all it is. It's about just pushing yourself just a little bit further than the last time you were in the room. And that's with any form of exercise. So that's how I pick. And also, try the new people, but at the same time, people whose classes typically are full with lots of people means people are liking what they're doing. So maybe check them out, and then ask people that work at the studio or work at the gym that you go to, and be like, what's a great instructor? Who do people really like, And just ask around, because people who really, really are popular and are empowering people and making people feel great, they are going to have a buzz around anyways. And so you'll be able to know through that. So, yeah.
Do you want to do a Twitter one?
Is there, I did a couple Twitters. Is there any more?
Instagrams?
Let's see if we got any more on Instagrams.
Let's see.
I'm also going to look on Facebook. I may do 2 more questions. Let's see. This is going to be so much fun. Because I know, like, sometimes it's hard, when you're, because when Hannah and I do it together, because, which we love to do, by the way. Let's see.
Facebook had the most.
I know.
And then there.
Let's see. We've covered a lot of them, have kind of like overlapped each other.
The good one was the one about emotional eating.
Oh, this is a really good one.
And some of the other ones touch on that.
Yeah. This is a really good one because a lot of people ask that. Let's see. Let me see. Where was that? I wanted to see.
That was on Instagram.
Oh, Instagram? Who's the name of the person? Because I want to give a shout out.
Strong Me.
New Strong Me. First of all, thank you for leaving a comment on Instagram. I appreciate it. She basically said, how do you control and or stop emotional eating? And this one is really tough because, I think a lot of people are like, I heard someone, I heard someone say this the other day, well, I'm not an emotional eater, really. I just, have a real problem in this environment or that environment. I was like, yeah, girl, because you're an emotional eater like everybody. And it's really true. Most people are emotional eaters. And I am 100%. And what's really interesting? When I'm down in the dumps, I guess I do eat kind of bad when I'm down in the dumps. But when I eat the worst is when I'm happy. The worst. That's the worst. Or when I've just done something really big, like, when I've done like a photo shoot or something, I'm like, yeah, I get to celebrate. I'm going to go eat like this. And that's when I have to really like be careful, because that can turn into like 2 days of, oh, well, I don't have anything coming up, so I can have for a couple of days. I can have this. And then that couple of days turns into like 4 days, which turns into 5 days, which turns into a week. And I never like and I just want to clarify also, when I say eating bad, I don't eat bad like I used to. I used to eat bad like every meal of the day plus snacks. What usually happens for me is I will do really good on breakfast and lunch, and then I'll come home at night, and it's like, what are we having for dinner? What are we having for dinner? I want to have cereal for dinner, or I want to have like, this, that, and the other for dinner. And that's for me because food at night was always a release for me. It was always one of those things where at the end of the day, I feel like I could exhale, and in some weird way, I had earned it. So I had earned that pint of Haagen-Dazs, or because I worked real hard that day. Well, yeah, so does everybody else. You know what I mean? So I have to for me, I have to really keep it in check, and I have to really kind of keep myself regimented in those areas. And emotional eating, to me, in my opinion, again, I'm not an expert, but what I have experienced, it's all about keeping yourself being aware that, okay, I'm an emotional eater, this is going to happen. So knowing what your triggers are, I know my triggers are big events. Like if I have big things that come up, and then when they're done, I have that natural taper off that you have emotionally, and I want to reward myself with food. So I always know it's coming. So my thing is always to just be aware of it. And yeah, most of the time I'm going to have some kind of treat or something when I meet a goal or something like that. But I have to be always aware that I have to limit it to a treat or a meal or whatever I've planned, and it can't just roll over into 2 and 3 and 4. And you have to go into that situation knowing that A, you're going to be weak, and B, you're just going to stick to the plan, whatever the plan is. Just don't go into situations like that without a plan. And, so now for me, it's always a big thing for Ben and I. Like what do we do, Ben? If we get into the house, we eat it at that moment, and then what do we do with it?
Totally.
And I'm not talking about when it's done, or I'm talking about we have gone out and bought a box of cereal and each had a bowl or 2 or whatever we were as a treat, and then there's milk and cereal left for a couple of days, and not only does Ben throw it away, but then what do you do with it?
Let's take it to the trash.
Okay, so
we live in New York.
We live in New York City, so it's a little different. But we not only throw it in the garbage can inside the house, but then Ben takes the bag outside to the garbage. We have a garbage bins and recycling outside of our building, out of the house, out of the building, so that there is no way you can dig a box of cereal out of the trash, because don't even act like you have dug something out of the trash and eaten it, because we've all done it. Because if it's still the package, it's still fair game, right? Am I the only one? Just kidding. But anyways, yeah, so that's the biggest thing is that stick to the plan. And our plan is always, if we eat something bad, fine, you eat it, and then we throw it away. That when we're done, we throw it away and then take it out of the house. And we don't ever, I don't ever bring stuff into the house and just have it sitting in the cupboard or that, because I can't have a box of brownies. People are like, oh, well, I like to keep a treat, it's some Debbie cakes in my, for my kids, and it's okay for kids to have treats before y'all flame me away. I'm not saying that, but I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I always keep a box of brownies. Those are my favorite. So, when I do want a treat, it's there, and I don't have to, go out and get it and everything. I'm like, girl, you bought those brownies on a Sunday, and Monday night you were cooking those brownies. Let's not, listen, I'm the same way. I can't have that stuff in my house. I just can't have it in my house. So that's my biggest thing, is stick to the plan with emotional eating. Really make sure and be aware that the temptation is going to be there. No matter how strong you are, no matter how many times you do it, it's always going to be the same, because if you are a food addict, if you are an emotional eater, that is your vice. That is what brings you comfort and whatever. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to keep it in balance and keep it in check and keep it under control, in my opinion. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I agree. You just have to make it a certain thing. I don't know how well they can hear me, but I agree. I agree.
He agrees.
I agree with you.
See why I married him? He agrees with everything I say. Ain't that right?
That's right. No.
All right, so we need to pick 4 people to win. So we're just going to name the 4 people, and then we're going to wrap it up. First of all, this was so much fun. Hannah and I were talking about this the other day. We love these Google Hangouts. I hope you guys like these. Like, I hope I wasn't too rambly and boring, because I can be a little rambly. But it's just really fun to talk to you guys and just to chit chat about things. I love it. And I loved it when we had guests like come in, like some of you guys joined us. So we want to continue to do that. We've got a handful of videos that are upcoming in the next week and 2 weeks throughout the diet bed. And obviously just in general, we have some great videos. For those of you who are interested in beauty stuff, I have a bunch of fun beauty stuff coming up that I'm really excited about. So yeah, we've got that coming up. So let's go ahead and pick the 4.
Are you ready? Cindy McLaughlin, right?
Cindy McLaughlin, you have won the caramel pumpkin swirl. We're going to send that to you in the mail.
So, send an email to appearances@myfitspiration.com with her mailing address.
So here's the instructions. For any of you guys that are winning, you are going to send an email to appearances@myfitspiration.com, which goes to our appearances director, which is that guy.
Hi.
Please don't bombard him with all kinds of crazy emails. No, I'm just kidding. So just send your mailing address or where, your office or wherever you would like us to mail this to you. So Cindy McLaughlin, you just earned a caramel pumpkin spice. Next
is Shannon Dickerson.
Yay, Shannon! Shannon just won a pumpkin caramel latte candle. So same thing with you, Sharon. Appearances@myfitspiration.com. Send us your mailing address, and we will send you your candle. Next one is
Carissa Rowland.
Yay, Carissa! You just won the pumpkin sugar donut. Gosh, I mean, I'm not kidding you guys. Whoo! Same thing. Appearances@myfitspiration.com with your mailing address. Oh, also, if by chance you're under 18, I don't think any people are, but if you are, please get your parents' permission to give us your mailing address, because I don't want some parent like being really upset that I sent something to a minor's house. So please, please, please get your parents' permission and all that jazz.
And then finally, and these are all just random, but
these are all random.
This person does get an award for being the most active in the chat on the YouTube page tonight. Stephanie Magrisso.
Oh, awesome. So because you've been the most active tonight in the chat or in the YouTube section, I also think she's pregnant. I think I saw this earlier.
Oh, did I miss it? I got it. Did I do it?
Stephanie Magrisso?
Did I do it right?
Yes, Stephanie Magrisso, you win the pumpkin cupcake candle. I think you're pregnant. If not, I'm just like completely out. I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere you said that you can't do the diet bed because you're pregnant. So I'm so glad. Oh, wait. Does that count? That counts. You know what?
Counts.
That counts.
The rules right now.
I'm not.
Because appearances in my Fitspiration messed up. So
because appearances messed up. He's fired. And not only that, but I know she's done stuff in the past. She's she's pregnant. And
she was the most active in the chat.
She really wanted to be a part of the diet bed. She said this on the last video. I remember. She said it because she's pregnant. She can't do the diet bed. So here's for your little My Fitspiration baby, a little pumpkin cupcake candle. Which, by the way, smells delicious. These candles, you people. And for those of you who didn't win, I wish I could give you all a candle because I love you all. Seriously, I know we say it all the time, but I don't think you guys understand how much I love interacting with you guys. And I know for 100% fact, I would not have kept this weight off. I would not have been as successful as I am without all of your support. And I know that sounds cheesy and dumb, and y'all are probably like, okay, girl, whatever. I promise you, when I read your tweets, when I see your likes on Facebook, when I see that you share stuff that I write, it literally it makes me so emotional. Like, there have been many times that I have just cried and cried and cried because of the love that I feel from you guys and that you guys are proud of me. I know that sounds really weird, but like, just to know that what I have done not only has been good in my life, but is like helped other people, like is probably one of the most incredible gifts out of this whole experience that I could have ever asked for. And I just want you guys to know I'm so proud of each and every one of you. This is not easy. It is hard. But if I could just tell you how worth it is, like being on this side, it is so worth the struggle and the fight. And that's what this is. This is not something that is easy, and it's not something that people understand, but I understand. And if I could just hold each one of your hands, if I could just walk with you on a treadmill, I promise you I would. And if you're ever in New York City, I've had so many My Fitspiration people come through New York City and take my class. Please come. If you don't want to take the class, just come and just say hi and go to the front desk and tell them you're here. And I'm usually there in the office anyways if it's around when I'm teaching. I will come out and say hi. We can take a picture or get a hug or something. But I'm so proud of each and every one of you. And thank you for participating in our diet bet. And thank you for just continuing to be a part of our lives. And I'm so excited for the things that are coming. And Hannah and I have a lot of things that we're doing. We don't have this done yet. We're in the process of trying to write a book, and that's really exciting, and it's something kind of different for us, and a different kind of weight loss and motivational book that I think you guys will really, really like. So just stay tuned and stick with us. And if you know somebody who might benefit from what we're all doing here together, share it, give it away, pass it on. It not only helps us be able to create more stuff for you guys, but just the more that we have together in this community, the better we are. And I believe that the more, we are better together than we are alone. That is really true. Thank you, Jack Shepard on Lost, for that. Right? I love me some Lost. Anyway, so that's all I got. I didn't mean to get so emotional. I don't know what happened there. I just got kind of emotional. But I love you guys so much. And for those of you who won the candles, thank you so much. Tune in next week. Hannah's going to do her chat. I'm hopefully going to get at least one video up this week. Just a regular My Fitspiration video. I'm super excited. I'm going to I want to do a beauty one. And then after that, I'm going to do a recipe. I've been, I think I said earlier, maybe I'll do one of those fall recipes. That would be kind of fun. Maybe I'll do a pork tenderloin with some like roasted like veggies with it, or something like fall veggies. That would be really, really fun. I think I'm going to do that. So stay tuned for that. And I love you guys, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. Continue. We are always reading comments on Diet Bet. I'm going to get in there in the next couple of days. Hannah's been answering a lot of comments. I'm going to get in there in this. I always read them. So I'm going to get in and really get going on those comments too. And we are just so proud of everybody. Everything you've done so far in Diet Bet. It's amazing. You guys have been so good. I feel great. I feel so much better since I started. Have you feel better, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely.
He #nails it all the time. So anyways, yep, I will see you guys soon. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful night. Love you. Mwah.